Hi everyone, it's John from What Up. Welcome back to another video and happy Wheel of Time Wednesday. Yes, the final Season 3 trailer dropped today for the Wheel of Time. And I, for one, couldn't be more excited. I've watched it half a dozen times already, if not more. We're going to show it to you here, folks, in just a moment, and then we're going to walk through the trailer chronologically. We'll go into each of the scenes. We'll try to see what's going on, explain some things, see if we can spot some Easter eggs. We're going to break this thing down, and I'm very excited to do so. So, if you're new to the channel, or if you're just really excited about Season 3 of The Wheel of Time, or even if you're just following the news to see what you could be missing because you don't really like the show that much, consider making us your home for Wheel of Time news. Subscribe to the channel, like the video, tell a couple of your friends. We're getting really close to 25K, folks. We're almost there. Now, we're going to dive into the trailer here, so I'm going to give spoiler warnings after we watch the trailer, but we're going to watch the trailer first, and then after that, we're going to jump in and start breaking it down bit by bit.
The world is changing.
A tide sweeping us along against our control.
We cannot stand behind these walls and pretend we still have control.
This tower is destroying itself from the inside out.
If the White Tower does not bend the knee to Randall Thor, he will lose the last battle.
There's not enough air in the world to deal with this.
They won't just come for Rand. They'll come for all of us.
We're going to the last place anyone would ever look for me.
You do not belong here.
Our people have been waiting for the Karakarn's arrival. To think it might be you.
Each step forward is a step backwards through time.
Do you love her?
What did you see in the rings?
In every future where I lived, Rand dies. And the only way he lives is if I don't. We don't win battles with politics and prophecies. We win with armies.
Get ready! Archers! Loose!
Make them believe in you, and they will follow you to the ends of the earth.
This is what I was born to do.
All right, that was really cool. I don't know what to say about it other than that. I was very, very impressed with this trailer. So we go back to Season 1 and Season 2. The trailers were good, but this one, I don't know who they hired to do the trailers this time, but they knocked it out of the park. I was really impressed with it. So we're going to walk through the trailer here. We'll go each scene by scene, kind of chronologically order. I didn't want to mix too many things up, even though a lot of the scenes seem to be very similar or from the same scene, just different timelines, either forward or back. But I'm going to walk through it from start to finish, and we'll try to pick out where things are going. So before we dive totally into it, I am giving a spoiler warning up to Book 5 here. So if you haven't read the Wheel of Time series, Books 1 through 5, that's up to the fires I haven't be forewarned. I'm going to ruin plot points, character arcs up to that point, because there's a lot of stuff to walk through here, and a lot of it out of context. If you just watch the show, you may not understand what's going on, because there's some things here that are really important to the story, and that a lot of book fans are doing that, you know, that Leonardo DiCaprio meme where they're like, they're doing that. I was doing that the whole time. So we're going to walk through those. We'll talk about those really important, really cool scenes. We're going to ruin stuff from the books, folks. It just stands to reason we're also ruining stuff from the show. I don't put spoiler warnings up for the show as near as often as I do the books, because it amounts to essentially the same thing. So we're going to spoil the whole series as well. Now, we're going to start out here. They started the trailer with this. We've seen some still shots of this from earlier on, and these still shots were showcased in some of the press releases they had and in the teaser trailer, and we weren't sure what they were. So there was some discussion at the time. Maybe it's a dream sequence. Maybe it's something from Egwene's testing. Maybe it's something from... We weren't entirely sure. We didn't think they were main shots from the show because of the way the three girls are dressed. So we don't really see the three girls that well in this trailer, but we have Egwene, Elaine, and Nynaeve here, and they're all dressed really nicely, and their horses are super fancy. They're wearing all kinds of really nice tack. Like, they're beautiful. Very, very different than what they would normally wear in the show or in the book series. This almost seems like it's either a different reality or a different future. And I think the general consensus among the fandom is that it was an accepted test or a scene from Egwene's accepted test, which we know we're going to see in season 3. This just sort of cements it because we see this gentleman out waiting in the river, and he turns around and it's long-haired Rand with a little bit of scruff, and he looks wild-eyed. He doesn't look exactly all there. So I'm wondering if this is perhaps one of the sequences from Egwene's test where she is a full Aes Sedai, because it looks, at least in the promotional shots that we've seen earlier, that her and Nynaeve and Elaine are all dressed up really nicely, and they were wearing Aes Sedai rings. So I would guess that they're full Aes Sedai within this. It's one of Egwene's sequences from her accepted test, and they're confronting Rand. Now, Rand is wearing really nice clothes in this. Like, they are fine clothes, like nobility would wear. And he does look wild-eyed, so I'm wondering if this is one of those realities where Rand has scummeted to the madness, and he's just kind of, waiting to be caught. And that's what Egwene, Nynaeve, and Elaine are there to do. Either way, really excited that we're going to see some of Egwene's testing in the next season. We got to see some of other people's testing so far, but Egwene's is a big one from the book, so I'm really excited for us to see that. Next scene we have is this is Moiraine. Now this comes right along with the leaks that we have, the promotional shots and the teaser trailer that came out. It shows Moiraine holding a ball, and this ball is an object of power. I did a leaks video on it a few months ago where I was told that it was called Sarkhanen, which is the Sangreal that Demandred uses within the series. And I won't get into any more details other than that because it's a well beyond Book 5 spoiler. But I will say it doesn't look anything like a ball. It's very, very different in the book series. And I was also told that it functions much like the Choden Kal, which is the most powerful Sangreal in the book series. So there's two of them. There's a male and a female one in the book series. They are way too big to move. One is outside Cairhien, and the other one is on the island of Treemalkin with the sea folk. And they're basically these big people holding crystal balls. And there are smaller access keys that look just like them, only they're a little bit smaller. They're like, I would say, doll-sized. And you can use those access keys, which are Terran Grail, to access this big Sangreal. And it was built as a weapon during the Age of Legends, and it was never used because it was so powerful that the people at the time, even then, were so afraid to use it, they thought that things would happen that could not be undone. So we see her here with the ball. She's really drinking in the power. She can tell she looks kind of ecstatic from this. She's not wearing that kind of gold cuirass we've seen in the last promotional images and the teaser trailer, but we do get to see a shot of her out in the waist with just lines of power arcing out from her. So I'm not sure if this is something that she is actively doing to cause something to happen. We know there's a few scenes in the books where a lot of power is used in the waist. One of them is a scene where Rand causes a ton of rain, and it sort of fills up permanent lakes that stay there forever. Another one is where Rhuidean, the fog around Rhuidean kind of gets destroyed and just dissipated. I don't think it's either of those scenes. I think she's just found the Sangreal and she's sort of just basking in its power at this point. And that is if what I put out in the leaks was accurate, and so far as I know, it is. But do take that with a little bit of a grain of salt because that's not official information. Again, it was a leak I did in my channel a few months ago. All right, now we're in this. Let's talk about this. I'm going to guess, folks, that this is from the first 15 minutes that Rafe had said was just bonkers. That women were shredding each other left, right, and center. Because the next few images we're going to get into here all seem to center around this. So in this particular image, you see the Amyrlin, you see Alana, you see Lyanna, the Keeper of the Chronicles. You see some of the sitters around the outside of the hall here, but you also see Nynaeve over to the right. And Leandrin is being held in the air by the power used by Swan. So I'm guessing this is likely a scene where they confront Leandrin, probably find out that she's a dark friend, because you have Nynaeve there to corroborate any of the stories that they want to bring about against Leandrin. And I'm going to guess, considering the outcome of this, this is likely that massive battle that takes place in the first little bit of the show. So here you see Joya in the front there. She is a known dark friend, and a few other Aes Sedai that are fighting other Aes Sedai around them. So I'm going to guess that this is likely where the Black Asha splits off from the tower and they have this big fight. You can see all kinds of stuff here. You see them in the middle. You see Leandrin still in that ball, just encased in fire and power. I think we're going to see a ton of carnage. I think we're going to see a ton of really cool effects, if this is any indication of what we're going to see. And I think it would be the smartest way to start out the season, because it is one of those things where it will not only be eye-catching, it will be just talked about incessantly afterwards if it's a massive battle with the power, because we haven't seen anything to that level in the show yet. We saw something maybe akin to it, a smidge in season 1, which I didn't really like. Wasn't done very well, where you had a few people fighting some Trollocs. Again, that was mostly because the CG was poor at that point and they had to do rewrites, and there was a lot of problems with it. Again, we didn't see any major battles with power in season 2. A couple of small scale things, but nothing really big. This is going to take the cake and have people talking. I think it's a really smart way, if this is what this is, to start out the season. And then here you have, again, you see Joya down here to the left, known dark friend, Swan out in front in the foreground here, and Leandrin up in the air, just encased in a bubble of power and fire. Man, folks, this is going to be epic, and I can't wait to see it. I can't wait to talk about it. I can't wait to go through this when the actual episodes come out, because this is why we're here, folks. Stuff like this. I'm very excited for this. All right, next up we have what is likely more or an continuation of those shots. We see Alana and her two warders, and she seems to be fighting someone. So she's blasting some cobblestones up here, and her warders are side by side, kind of protecting her. So we will also get to see Alana in action in Season 3, fighting things, which makes me very excited, because she is Battle Asha, and it's one of the things we really haven't seen from Greens in the show, is them fighting. But let's be totally honest and fair here, folks. In the books, even in the books, the Greens were not real great at being showcased as great fighters. They were the Battle Asha, but they didn't do a whole lot of battling. At least on page within the books, there was talk of some of their exploits, but it wasn't something that was really at the forefront of them. And I hope that's something we do get to see in the show. Either way, this does look like a shot from Tar Valon, because the architecture and the artwork and the vines and the windows and the columns all totally match everything we've ever seen about Tar Valon so far. So I would say this is likely a continuation of this scene where the Dark Friends are called out and they all kind of escape and start fighting everyone. Tower Coup, I don't think that's what this is. I think this is the Dark Friends, and that's been the biggest prevailing fan theory for quite some time, is that's what we're going to see at the beginning of the season. I think, folks, this confirms it. Now we're moving on to this. This is a nice shot of Rand and what appears to be Moiraine next to him. I couldn't tell you exactly where they're at, but in the teaser trailer and some of the promotional material, it seems this Ring of Spears was around the outside of Rhuidean. So I'm going to assume this is probably before they go down into Rhuidean. Within the book series, both Rand, Moiraine, Avienda, all of them head into Rhuidean along with Mat. Now, we have not seen Mat anywhere in any of the waste shots at all. That's in the promotional material, the leaks, the teaser trailer, and in this full trailer. But we do seem to see Mat in other storylines. This is a Tanchico storyline, so I'm going to guess he's probably not here for these shots. And this is likely before they go down into Rhuidean and they actually take a look at the city and they see what's going on up top, because these are all those spears that we've seen Rand kind of walking Moiraine back through in the first poster, as well as in the teaser and the promotional material. So I think that's what that shot's from. Now we're getting into this. Now, I've said this for a while, folks. The Battle of the Two Rivers is going to be one of the defining moments of the series in television. It just will be. It's one of those things that this is something, there are a few moments within the series, and we're talking maybe less than a dozen, probably half a dozen moments in the series that people need to see on screen and they need to see get right. I think we're going to see two of them this season. One is going to be the Glass Columns. One is going to be the Battle of the Two Rivers. There are more to come, for sure. But from what we're seeing so far, I think they're getting this not only right, but it's going to be absolutely amazing. And it will definitely be a much better culmination amongst the other storylines as well to the season than maybe what we got in season 2 and maybe what we got in season 1. Now, season 2 ended with a big battle with the White Cloaks and the Shan-Chan and our main characters. However, that big battle seemed fragmented and small because there really wasn't that many people ever on screen at once. There really wasn't that many people fighting, and the way it was shot, it seemed very open and sparse. This, the way they're framing it in the trailer, the tighter shots, the kind of zooming in on people that are there, kind of getting rid of that overarching background, makes it seem like there's more going on than there actually is. It's filmed much better, in my opinion, and I think the battle scenes we're going to see in season 3 are going to be just that much better than season 2. So now we're going to talk about this still. Of course we are. So you see the palisades that are surrounding Two Rivers. We've seen those in some of the content creators that actually get to visit the set last year, I believe. So Lauren from Unraveling the Pattern was one of them. Critter XD, which I had in the channel here not long ago. She's a big TikToker and has a Wheel of Time channel as well. Was there amongst many, many other content creators. I didn't get to go. That's not a dig or anything, folks. I'm happy that you're happy, and I'm happy that you got to go. But they did come home with pictures of the Palisades and the Two Rivers set. And so we were wondering how they were going to frame it, how they're going to do it. So here we have outside this wall, this crude wood stake wall and the Palisades that are built there, you have a ton of Trollocs mixed with Dark Friends. And I mean, they got to be Dark Friends, right? They're fighting alongside the Trollocs. There's no way they don't know what they are. And they're attacking the Two Rivers. Within these shots, and we'll go through them all as we go through, we see a ton of different stuff. But in this particular one, we only see Two Rivers folk with the longbows behind, and they are trying to thin up the ranks of the people attacking the wall. This is one of those things, I think they're going to get this not only right, I think they're going to knock it out of the park from everything we've seen so far. Then you get a picture of Perrin here. This is Berserker Rage Perrin. He has his axe, and he's just going ham, and I can't wait to see that. I love that for him. I love that for Marcus for season 3, that he actually gets to unleash the wolf. And here he is just destroying people with his axe on screen in this particular portion of the trailer. There's a lot of him. So I've said this before, we're going to see way more Perrin this season. We're going to see way more Matt than we've seen in the last couple seasons. And that's a good thing. I think they really need to flesh out those characters, and this is the season to do it. Now, this is something else that I've missed a lot, and I really wanted in the show that we especially didn't get in season 2. It's the interaction between the characters, just having them be themselves with each other. There seems to be a focus in streaming these days of action, of explosions per minute, of Michael Bay-isms. That's not really why I watch TV or why I'm watching The Wheel of Time. Wheel of Time is a character book to me first and foremost. Yes, there's some cool stuff in it, some cool battles, cool things. But the characters, how they progress, their character development, and the relationships between them is why I love the books. And here you get to see Rand, and he's looking at what we can only assume is that drawing of Matt, because you see this guy kind of scribbling away at the paper beforehand. And then you cut to Matt, and you cut to Perrin, and they're all having a great time. So if we take a look at this, you can't really tell where Rand's at here. It is the same shot, though, because of the way they framed it and the movement, especially if Rand's arm there. He's wearing the same, let's go back here. He's wearing the same coat. So you see the blue coat there? Blue coat in the arm, it's behind me. Of course, let's move me there. So see that? So it is the same shot. And if you take a look at Matt, that's a total Matt Cawthon face. I don't know what else to say other than that. If you take a look at Perrin, the architecture in behind them, and the vines outside, the buildings outside, that's Tarvalon. So there's been a lot of rumors and a lot of speculation that we're going to start in Tarvalon. The fandom's talking about it a lot online. And it sort of either seems that we're going to be that way, or at some point during the season, you're going to see most of the characters in Tarvalon for some reason. And if it's a slowed down reason, I mean, these boys are sitting in a tavern, it looks like having a beer, then totally we're going to get some character development, some good times between them. And I'm missing that. I want to see them interact. I want to see them hang out. One of the things that I really looked forward to in the series was those chance meetings between the three of them that happened after they separated and went on their own storylines, so to speak. And I really, really lived for those little bits. So this, I think, is going to be really, really good. All right, now we get a shot of this. So this is what we can only assume is Joya. She is one of the Aes Sedai, one of the Dark Friends of the Black Aja. And this, I think we can safely assume she's been captured. So I think we're going to see her capture play out much like it did in the books. I think we're going to see her captured and interrogated, and I think that's what this appears to be. She's just sitting alone in the center of a dark room by herself. Now, could be she's meditating or just having a good time by herself. I don't know. But to me, it looks like she's being confined and likely it's going to play out, I think, at least a little bit like we've seen in the books. Either way, I'm pretty excited to see that. Now we have this. Now this here is a more difficult shot because you can't really tell what's going on here. You see 3 figures, 1 entering the doors, 2 in front of the doors, all cloaked and hooded. But take a look at some of the plant life and behind them, the vegetation, the way it looks a little more tropical. The only place I've seen like this in any of the promotional material, in the teaser, or in any of the leaks we've had so far, has been Tenchiko. Remember all those photos we had of the kind of rough port portion of Tenchiko? This had kind of the same plants in the background as it did there. Not saying it is Tenchiko, but I am saying that that's the only spot that I can think of it fits. It's definitely not the waste, there's too many plants. It doesn't look like the tower, it's not bright enough, and it doesn't have the right architecture. It's definitely too big for the 2 rivers. This isn't something that you would see in the 2 rivers. And I think that's exhausted all of our storylines that we are aware of in the 3rd season other than Tenchiko. This could also be part of the flashback from the glass columns. It could be a part of Egwene's accepted test. It could be a part of Teleran Rhuide. So those are also options. And I'm not entirely sure what this is. So I want to hear your folks' comments down below, what you think this scene is, because it's something that really has me stumped. I really don't know what this is or who these people are. And I want to hear your thoughts on it. All right, now we get this. Oh, folks, this is another one of those scenes, you know, those half dozen to a dozen scenes that people need to see right. This is Nynaeve and Moghedien, and people need to see it. We want to see them standing across from room each other, just staring at each other like strange cats, I think is how it's put in the book series, with nothing else happening because they're fighting with the power. And here you have a very visibly upset Nynaeve, and then you have Moghedien kind of caressing her face and just being overall super creepy. I love it. And I love the black on the fingers. I can't wait to see the interaction between those two. Leia Costa, I think, is going to knock the role out of the park. We've seen her for a grand total of maybe, 55 seconds in the 2nd season at the very, very end. And it was kind of a surprise to most people that she was playing Moghedien. Her role was released by, her involvement in the show was released by Watt series quite earlier, but no one had any idea that she was Moghedien. And she just knocked it out of the park as a spider. So that is some abject, just horrified terror. It's kind of scared, just... Oh, look at her. She plays just absolutely nut bar evil so well. I'm excited to see it. So yeah, in the book series, for those of you who haven't read it, we give spoilers, we're fine. There's a scene within Tenchiko where Nynaeve not only fights Moghedien, but holds her own. And she beats herself up for a while afterwards that she was not strong enough to overtake and capture Forsaken. Until someone points out to her that it was a bloody Forsaken, and you held your own. That's a source of pride in and amongst itself. They're the most powerful, most ruthless, most amazing, most talented channelers of all time, essentially. And they know far more than the Aes Sedai of present age, and you were just an accepted, and look what you did. So, I can't wait. I can't wait to see this. All right, now we have this. Did I say a dozen? There's going to be more than a dozen scenes people are going to want to see. There's probably a dozen alone in the 3rd season. This is another one. When I seen this in the trailer, I screamed the apple trees, and I'm not going to lie to you. People around me didn't have a clue what I was talking about. I was watching it on my phone. The apple trees? No. People had no idea. They thought I was absolutely loony. But there is a scene within the 4th book where Perrin goes to visit his family. And his family is buried here amongst the apple trees because that's... It's a whole thing. As far as he's concerned, they were killed by the Trollocs. They were killed in the raids, and he went to go visit their graves, and it just messed him right up. It was a very emotional scene. I'm not going to get into anything else about their deaths other than what he thought at the time. But it was one of those scenes where you read it, and it was just heart-wrenching. And it really, really kind of catapulted Perrin's character into just being a character in a book to something more real, because it just destroyed him. And here he is during the scene with the apple trees, and Alana's coming up to talk to him. And he is not having a good time, folks. This is 100% definitely the scene where he's going to visit his dead family. And it's going to be like I said, I love the battles. They're cool. I love the excitement. This is the stuff I live for. The character scenes, the character growth, the drama. This is going to be really, really hard to watch on screen, but amazing at the same time. I think right now we have the episode where Egwene was captured by Rhaena as being my absolute favorite episode of the series. This one may change and take the cake. We'll see. We'll see when it airs. We'll see what I say. We'll see if I have to eat my hat. But I'm excited for this one. All right, then we have this shot. I recognize this immediately, and I think some of you out there may have as well. This looks very eerily similar to the exact same location that Rand and Egwene sat in the first episode of the show, when they were kind of hanging out and having a good time, and you were introduced to the characters and introduced to the relationship. That's where this is. But yet we have Lanfear and Rand here. And Lanfear, while kissing Rand, appears to be looking at someone else. So it's kind of hard to say who exactly, or exactly what exactly is going on here, but I think it's a fairly easy guess to say that this is probably Teleran Rhuide. Lanfear probably is meeting or talking to Rand there, and she's probably just glaring at Egwene. So yeah, I think it's going to be one of those things where Lanfear is going to be very prevalent in the third season. We're going to see a lot of her, but I think we're going to see a lot of her in the world of dreams versus the real world. I think we're going to see her just tormenting different characters in their dreams, because let's face it, that's what Lanfear does. Lanfear's real good at that. All right, now we get to have a shot of Egwene, and this appears to be in the waist. We have the white sands behind her. This could be Teleran Rhuide. I'm going to say it probably is Teleran Rhuide, because next we have a shot of Bear. You do not belong here. So this is likely Teleran Rhuide. And Egwene is dreaming, and this is her interaction with one of the dreamers. So we're going to see a lot of dreaming in Teleran Rhuide in Season 3, which I should probably do a full explanation video on that for you folks, because I know a lot of you that are watching this have not read the books and don't know what it is exactly. We've been introduced to it a bit, but essentially the Cole's Notes version of it is it's a dream world. It's a world that is a mirror of our own, devoid of life, that is changed by big events or major changes, but otherwise it's mostly the same. And that certain people, when they sleep, can enter the dream world. Things they do there are essentially real to them. If they hurt themselves, they're hurt in real life. If they hurt someone else, they're hurt in real life. If they're trapped there, they can't awake. But nothing they do there affects the real world. So you can't go and knock over a tree and then in the real world have the tree knock over. The tree will just eventually right itself in Teleran Rhuide to mirror the real world. So that's the real quick and dirty version of it. But I'll do a full video on it probably at some point before Season 3 drops, because it's an important thing. All right. Next up we have this. I was waiting for this. There's a lot of people out there getting the dragon tattoos on their arms, which is the mark of a clan chief. Folks, you're not clan chiefs. The Aiel are going to take exception to that. Just be careful. I don't have one, but I have a lot of tattoos. I was wondering how they display this on screen, because tattoos are a thing in Randland. They 100% are. But these seamless, beautiful color dragons that are on people's arms are never mistaken for tattoos, because they're too nice. In fact, they look as nice as some of the color artwork that I have. Quick plug for my artist, Luke Cormier in Sydney, Nova Scotia. If you guys like real color tattoos, go see him. But it was more akin to a modern tattoo. And during the book series, it was hinted that it was done by the Power. In fact, I think it was outright said that it was done by the One Power. That's what did it. But anyway, Clan Chief is marked by one dragon on one arm. The Karakarn, the Chief, is marked by two dragons, one on each arm. And Rand gets marked by both, of course. So we're going to get to see some different people with the dragons on their arms. This looks to be a person in Cat and Sore. So I'm going to say it's likely Rourke. My guess is he's the chief that I think of when it comes to the Wheel of Time, 100%. And we've seen him up front and center in a lot of the promotional material so far, and his role has been released. Probably him, but this is what the dragons look like, and I think they look really friggin' cool, personally. Kind of wish I had space for it, but maybe we'll get it somewhere else. Anyway, either way, next we have a shot, fittingly enough, of a couple of Aiel. We have Avienda, and they appear to be talking to Rand. Now this, if you look in the background, the same green foliage, the same architecture, this appears to be Tar-Valon. So this is likely part of that whole thing where they're all together in Tar-Valon. Again, we're not 100% sure when it happens in the series, if it's at the first, which a lot of people think it is, or if it's further on, but definitely they're having a chat there. So they are all together, at least insofar as who we've seen so far are in Tarvalon at the beginning of at some point during the third season. Next we have this. I got to talk about this because this appears to be an Aiel sweat tent, because you have the kind of the tent in the background. You have people wearing white kind of serving them. You have some sweaty people. Of course, there's sweaty people in a sweat tent. And then you have this woman lovingly, I guess is the best way to put it, kind of staring at Moiraine. And Moiraine doesn't look like she's not enjoying it. Poor Swan. Hopefully Swan doesn't find out. But yeah, so I think we're going to see some shots of the Aiel culture. We're definitely going to see the sweat tents. Will we see other things? I think we're not going to see as much of the Aiel as we all expect. We've already seen from some of the promotional material and the teaser trailers. There's likely less clans. There's likely less Aiel than there is in the books. And that's just probably more of a time frame / money thing. But I do like the idea that we do get to see a lot of the culture, including the sweat tents and the Gaishan in the background there. I'm pretty excited about that. All right, what a terrible screenshot this is. I'm sorry, folks. This is likely one of the shots from Glass Columns. So we see a few different shots of Rand in the trailer here, where he appears to be wearing either different clothes of a different era, or his face is a little bit different, his hair is different, the way he looks is just a smidge different. He's likely playing his ancestors. Now, I released this in a leaks video a year ago now, folks, that we knew he'd be the one playing his ancestors as he walked back through the Glass Columns and went further and further back in time. If you look at it, the way he's wearing it, look at the people in the background, and just kind of everything looks too clean, too futuristic. Look at the plant. That's a future plant, folks. Or a super far in the past plant, I guess, if we're talking about the Age of Legends. This is likely a shot from the Age of Legends where he's playing a very, very distant ancestor of his. I think we're going to get to see, I don't know, I hope we get to see Lanfear. I hope we get to see Moiraine, drilling into the boar. I hope we get to see the ancient Aiel, the ones that were following the way of the leaf. I hope we get to see all of that. I think we're seeing the history of the Aiel at the very least, because there are some other shots here we'll get into in a minute that definitely mirror this, but I think this is 100% Age of Legends. And here we go, talking about Glass Columns. This is not how I pictured it at all. This is better. I pictured it just like some glass columns, like you're walking through into a crappy bar where they have these glass columns up, and they mean it to look classy, but it really doesn't look that way. That's how I pictured it in the books. This is super friggin' cool. I think when they did the effects in this, a lot of us were very upset that it was so long between seasons. The effects, I'm not a huge fan of special effects, of computer effects, that is, rather, VFX. I love anything practical. This totally is not practical, you can tell. But it's done in such a way that I think it fits, and I'm happy with it. I do like this very much. And this is Rand walking into the columns. For every step forward he takes, he goes back in time. And speaking of that, we also have a few other people that go to Rhuidean, and Moiraine is one of them. And Moiraine passes through some rings. Now, the rings give a woman who passes through them a sense of her life. She sees multiple futures, multiple different possibilities. And after she comes through the rings, they kind of all blend together into just a sense of maybe knowing what they should do, a purpose, so to speak. They don't really know the future, but there are a few key moments in their lives when they come out and they see something certain and they go, I need to do this. I can't quite tell you why, but I know I need to do this. And Moiraine goes through the rings in Rhuidean, and there's someone in Cadden Sore behind her there. You can tell by the boots and the pants. Probably Avienda is my guess. Now, one of the things about the book series is they were supposed to go naked into Rhuidean. They didn't in the show. That's not a change I'm unhappy about. I'm not upset about tons and tons of nudity in shows and whatnot, but it's one of those things where it does make it a little more accessible to other age ranges if there's a little bit less nudity in certain parts of the world, because let's face it, nudity is not viewed the same everywhere. So this looks to be like Moiraine in the Rings, and we do get to see a lot of different shots in this teaser, or this trailer rather, that showcase what appear to be different futures or different possibilities. And I think that person behind them is likely Avienda in the ring there. You can see a better shot of them here. It's a little more grainy, but you can see the two of them within the rings. Again, this is not how I pictured the rings. This is better. Whoever designed these things, were the artists doing this, they did a great job. I super like this. I like the fog, the shrouded fog that's around the city. Super creepy, super ominous. I like this. It's super neat. All right, so we get another shot here. It's a shot of Moiraine land, kind of in a wheat field. I'm not 100% what's going on here. I couldn't tell you if this is what's going on present, past. To me, this almost seems like a moment where she decides to bond him. You couldn't get really close enough to see if they're actually de-aged, a little bit younger here or not, but I would guess it's a very tender moment between the two of them, and likely not in the main timeline of the show. I'm going to guess this is probably a flashback of some sort. And then we have, especially since it's coupled in with all these possible futures, this also could be a possible future, for all I know, because it does seem to be coupled with these. Now, we've seen these in the teaser trailers, and in the promotional material, and it's a lot of Moiraine with Rand. So you have Rand sitting on a stool with Moiraine. You have Moiraine super dressed up with Rand with his wound that will never heal, kind of broken open, spewing blackened blood everywhere. You have Moiraine again, same sort of outfit, and then you have Rand sitting down wearing the is that the Dragon Reborn cloak? No, it's not that one. It's the it's the Lord of Chaos coat. So he's wearing the Lord of Chaos. I had a look. Isn't that terrible? He's wearing the coat that he's wearing on the cover of the Lord of Chaos, which is a nice little throwback to that. And then you have this one here. We discussed this in detail in another video of mine. We weren't quite sure who the person crawling on the ground was. It's Moiraine. It's pretty much been decided by the fandom that is Moiraine. Hard to tell by the way the shot is. Then you have like the Darth versions of everybody behind them. You have Lanfear, and then you have Nynaeve, Egwene wearing her Shan collar, Rand over to the right. You have Perrin far left. Behind Perrin, you have Moghedien, Elaine, Matt. Maybe that's not Moghedien. Maybe that's Min. It's hard to tell because they're far back there. Either way, this is the troop of the main characters with Lanfear at the forefront, just torturing Moiraine. This is another one of those possible futures. And you have here Lanfear killing Moiraine, Lanfear killing Moiraine. Let's go back to this. Lanfear killing Moiraine. So you see a lot of possible futures. And she says in every future where she lives, Rand dies or fails. So the reason being, we gave the spoilers for Book 5, Fires for Heaven, is because that's when Moiraine ends up fighting Lanfear, and they go through a twisted redstone doorframe, and for all intents and purposes, she's dead because the bond is broken with Lan. It's passed on to a different sister. Lanfear is gone from the world. Moraine's gone from the world. It's one of those things where they're really playing this stuff up, and they're leaning into it where book fans are going to go, I know where you're going with this. I can see the writing on the wall. But people who watch the show really can't. But it does give them a little hint of it. And then if and when it does happen in the season, because we're not totally sure if they're going to go follow through with that, Rosamund has been billed as the main character of the show so far, and she is a producer on the show as well. But she has packed up and moved from Prague back to London. She did that after filming, so there's always that question: is she's going to be back for more later on, or not? We're not sure, or if she's going to be removed from the equation like she was in the books. Either way, they're really hinting that they're going to do that, and I'm kind of interested to see how they're going to play that and what they're going to do with it. All right, next, the Golden Lions of Andor. Oh my! When they do nobility, they do nobility. Like folks. When we saw the promotional material with Elida and Queen Morghese, Queen of Hearts is what I got 100% all day long. And I'm still getting that. She does not look well there. She looks like she is not nice. Now, Morghese was known as a very fair but very firm ruler in the books. But off-page, she did some really wild stuff to cement her and her family's role in the monarchy in Andor. So it never got into it, but it alluded to it a number of times for the book series. Makes me wonder if we're going to get into some of this stuff here. But yeah, beautiful, beautiful shots here. You have those two big gold lions, the banners in the background. Really excited about that. And here's a better shot of that hall. You can see her walking up towards the throne with a bunch of people around her. Really cool. This gives me House of the Dragon vibes. It super does. Just the way she looks, the way she's standing, the costumes, the hall. I don't know what it is about it, but this doesn't feel Wheel of Time-ish. It feels like they've matured. The last couple seasons, they weren't really, even in the Kyrian stuff, wasn't matured nobility. This feels like matured nobility. It feels like more of a MA rather than PG-13. Not CW, more HBO. Does that makes any sense. So I think we're going to see some good stuff when it comes to Dastemar, the Game of Houses, next season. I hope, anyway. All right, we got a shot here. I wanted to showcase this because this is Alana and Maxim, one of her warders. She is not looking happy. She is covered in dust. She's covered in dirt. She is just disheveled and having a bad time. And Maxim looks the same. Covered in dust, covered in dirt, covered in blood. When is this shot? We don't know. We know that her and her two warders were fighting people, and there's a lot of people thinking that Maxim possibly dies during that fight because there is a few shots, especially in the teaser, where she's crying over someone in that same alleyway, part of Tarvalon. Hard to tell where it is, but in that spot where she's kind of throwing up those cobblestones. So I can't tell if this takes place before or after, but if it takes place after, there's Maxim. Proof of life, folks. If it takes place before, then she cleaned herself up real nice before that battle. Could also be a flashback. We don't really know. But I'm going to go with Maxim lives, especially considering we see him later on in the shot in the Two Rivers yelling the archers to loose, which makes me super happy. And that is likely happening near the end of the season, and that Battle of Tarvalon is likely happening at the front of the season, or the first of the season. Folks, I can't talk today. I'm just too excited. So yeah, proof of life, folks. I think Maxim lives whole season. That's my guess, and I'm happy for that. I like Maxim. I like him as a character. Taylor's a great person. I want to see him continue on the show for 32 more seasons. So there's that. Folks, I can't get enough of Elida. Jordan Duchalou is just absolutely the most amazing pick. I know some of you out there pegged her for Cadsuane. Nah, I didn't like Cadsuane. Kind of liked Elida though. What does that make me? Either way, I think she's perfect for the character. And it's one of those things. Leandrin was very 2D in the books, and people didn't like or hate her. She just was there. She just served a purpose. She was a plot device. Leandrin in the show, very different. You felt for the character. She had motivations. They fleshed her out. One of the big things I had always said about the Wheel of Time, one of the big complaints I had about the books, and yes, I have complaints about the books. They're not perfect. I love them to pieces. My favorite book series. Read the whole series now. We're talking over 100 times, which is wild, but it's true. But I always complained, and I always didn't like the fact that a lot of the villains in it were very 2D, and they were there just to serve a purpose. Shows really changed that. Leandrin in the show, chef's kiss, folks. Amazing. I think Elida, even though Elida was pretty fleshed out and pretty good in the books, I'm not going to lie to you, she was really, really well written. I think Showa's going to take it to a whole new level, and I think not only are you going to hate Elida on screen, it might be Joffrey level hate, folks. I think they're going to get to that. Like, I think you're going to love her, and then it's just going to go downhill. It's just going all downhill, and then I think we'll end up Joffrey level hate near the end. I can't wait to see her on screen with this. All right, next up, it's my boy. I got to talk about this. So we have this is the warder training grounds in the tower. In the background, you see a bunch of novices. They're all kind of and guardsmen. They're all kind of giggling over what's happening in the center here. To the left, you have Callum Kerr, who's playing a Galad, and then to the right, you have Luke Featherston, who's playing Gawain Trakand, my absolute favorite character. Can you guys see my tattoo? Hard to see. There's a Gawain tattoo there. Yes, I have a Gawain tattoo. You won't think I'm near as crazy as my wife did when I got that. I digress. Either way, my absolute favorite character. It was a joy to see him on screen for the first time, even if he's getting thumped around by his brother. Now, this appears to be in the same sort of shot and scene that Matt was in with those swords. When he's kind of fiddling with the swords and dropped one. Remember that from the Matt teaser? Could this be the quarterstaff fight scene? I don't know, folks. But it's awfully convenient. And Rafe Judkins has said that we will see that scene in the show in a way that makes sense. It won't be exactly like the books, but it's going to be shot and written in a way that makes sense for the show. So I can't wait to see my favorite character and his crappy brother get thumped by Matt Cotham with the quarterstaff. I'm very excited for that. And again, here's another wide shot of that. You can see this. You can see Matt there in the front right with Egwene and Nynaeve. Egwene there, obviously, is to support her brothers. Nynaeve is there, of course, for the show. And Matt is probably just bored and very unimpressed by the shirtless men fighting in front of him. It's just Matt, though. Either way, you can see Gawain just getting absolutely thumped there. And you can do better than that, Gawain. Get up. Get your brother. I'm sure you can. Okay, now we're getting into some other Battle of Two Rivers shots. Again, I think this is going to be more episodes 6, 7, 8. I think episode 7 is billed as Golden Eyes from the leaks from WatchSeries.com. So I think that's when we're going to start seeing huge Battle of the Two Rivers stuff. But I love seeing Perrin in this armor. I said it before for the poster, that the armor is not too fresh and too new. One of the things with the costumes in the show is they're beautiful. They're gorgeous. But sometimes they are too gorgeous for what they are. If you're in the Two Rivers and you're wearing, or either had made for you or found a set of armor that's going to fit, it's not going to be pristine, polished, and beautiful. It'll look more like this. Rough hewn, you can see the hammer marks in it, you can see the fact that it's a little bit old, the rivets aren't exactly perfect, they're not perfectly spaced. Costuming, again, knocked it out of the park with this, but this is a shot, I think, of Perrin preparing the defenses for the Two Rivers, which I'm very excited about. Something else I want to show you folks. So in the book series, there was a number of passages about the villagers helping to defend Field and the Two Rivers. And there were big connotations to this because it kept paralleling back to Nynaeve, where everyone, men, women, and children, rose up to defend their homeland. And I think that's what we're getting here. Now again, these people have doors. Their shields look like doors. They look like shutters. You can see some of the hinges on them and stuff. In fact, I think that hinge is very similar, very reminiscent of the hinge that Koala Said I had brought on the channel here that she had found at this site. I'll have to message Koala about that. I think it might be a door shield hinge. Either way, they have some rough-hewn weapons, and we had said that the spears that she had found also look like Trolloc spears. They look like these spears, folks. She probably has a Two Rivers villager spear. If you haven't seen that video, go back and watch it. It's great. She came on, talked about a bunch of things she found at the site. It was super cool. But yeah, this is really cool that we're going to see the Two Rivers folk actively defending their home against the Trollocs and the Dark Friends that are attacking. And what are Two Rivers folk known for? They're known as archers. And lo and behold, folks, we're getting Two Rivers archers in the show, which makes me very, very happy. I can't wait to see this. This is the scene where Maxim yells loose, and they all loose their arrows. But I want to stop here. So this is Faile Bashir. Faile is my second favorite character in the entire series. I love Faile to pieces. I know you folks don't like her. I know for a large part of the fandom, Faile is one of those characters you love to hate, just like Gawain is. Favorite character. I love her relationship with Perrin. I love how raw and real it is. But we're seeing her here in the Two Rivers with Perrin. So there was a lot of questions about this. We've seen them kissing. We've seen them kind of holding and hugging each other in some of the other teaser trailers. We've seen some promotional material with Isabella Bakari, who plays Faile. But this is the first shot we actually get to see where it is an extended shot. We're talking more than half a second of her in the Two Rivers assisting with the defense of it. This is likely where she meets Perrin, is my guess. That's what makes most sense for me. But either way, I can't wait to see Faile on screen. And again, shooting all the arrows out there. Trollocs are coming down through the mountain pass that they have blocked there. That looks exactly like the pass that Perrin, let's go back here, was just checking on. Exact same one, folks. Really, really cool. There, we just seen about 3 seconds of the Battle of the Two Rivers. Really neat, huh? I can't wait. And there's Maxim there. So again, proof of life, folks. Maxim lives. He doesn't die. It's likely Alana's other warder. Now, Lana does lose a warder within the book series, but she loses him at the Two Rivers. If she loses him in Tower of Elan, it means that she traveled to the Two Rivers with just one warder, Maxim. And that's all we tend to see in these shots. So that's likely what happens there. And again, I want to showcase this because you have the Trollocs coming in, and the Trollocs are still just as varied as they were in the first and second season. One of the big wins, I think, for the first and second season, with the Trollocs at least anyway, were the Trollocs that were up close were the people in suits. I know, folks, I'm a sucker for actual effects, as I want to call them, not computer-generated ones. I like people in suits. You guys seen the movie Werewolves? Terrible, terrible movie, but also amazing. I love the big rubber suits. I'm just a sucker for that. But yeah, really nice looking Trollocs here, and they are just as varied as they have been the last couple seasons, and they achieved that by doing various magnetic prosthetics that can click on and off. They're also attacking with Dark Friends. We mentioned that earlier. It looks like it's not just a Trolloc attack. It's also going to encounter some Dark Friends and some different people that are attacking the Two Rivers too. And here we have them here. Again, more people coming in, attacking. Looks like they have the little short horn bows in front there. They're not the Two Rivers longbows, and all the they have massive amounts of Trollocs in behind them, kind of pushing them forward. Really neat. Like, I can't wait to see this. This is going to be the culmination of the season for me. And again, a shot of Perrin, just... He's going to let the wolf loose, folks. How can you not love this? It's going to be... I know I'm excited, but how can you not? It's going to be absolutely amazing. And there is Loial putting a long handle on his axe with the 2 Aiel being in Chiet. This is going to be something. One of the things that they really stress a lot in the book series is that Ogiers, when they get enraged, they're basically unstoppable killing machines. And I can't wait to see Loial just pick up a giant axe and just go to town on a bunch of Trollocs. That's going to be absolutely amazing to see on screen. It's going to be one of the coolest things ever, I think. Again, we see a lot of the Battle of the Two Rivers in this shot, but in the background here, what I wanted to talk about is White Cloaks. It appears that the White Cloaks are also fighting. Now, in the book series, they didn't fight. They stood off to the side, and they let the villagers fight. And even when the lines were almost broke through, and the women came forward to assist the men that were defending the village, they really didn't do a whole lot of anything. And that was Perrin's justification for saying, you know what? Screw you folks. I'm not going to do what you want, because you haven't earned it. But it looks like they are fighting, or a part of the fighting in here, so that is a change in the book series. Again, we're back. I think, like I said, I'm doing this in chronological order for the entire trailer. We're not doing it in scene order. This goes back to I believe, the battle at the front. This is the Hall of the Tower. You can see the Amyrlin seat. You can see the setter's chairs, the columns. You can see what appears to be 4 Aes Sedai in the center, just blasting out around it. Couldn't tell you who they are. It's too murky of a shot to really pick out who those Aes Sedai might be, but I can tell it from different options because they're wearing different colors. And they appear to be just absolutely decimating the place. That 15 minutes, folks, if that's what this is, it's going to be, like Rafe said, bonkers. Can't wait for it. Again, more of the Battle of the Two Rivers. Again, they're kind of flopping back and forth between big major shots at this point in the trailer, like bang, 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 which is smart because you're seeing a lot of different things. But with this, you get to see not only Trollocs in the background, there's White Cloaks here, Two Rivers, the Palisades, but you're going to see a lot of the Two Rivers on fire too. So that begs the question, what's going on here? Is the Trollocs have catapults? Are they chucking fire? Is this Aes Sedai work? Is Alana doing this? Is this the catapults that Alana has set up, that they're kind of... They magicked the rocks to blow up inside the Trolloc lines when they're launching them, like they did within the Battle of the Two Rivers in the book series. I'm kind of interested to see what's going on here. Definitely not Illuminator work, not enough sparks, but either way, pretty cool. And again, another shot of what I can only guess to be Moiraine. That's kind of looks like the outfit, the outline silhouette, channeling within Rhuidean because of all the fog and stuff around her. This might be when she first gets that Sangreal, or it could be part of her going through the rings. I really don't know. Either way, kind of neat to see a shot like this. Really kind of iconic and epic. Folks, I forgot about this. That's Avienda. It's Avienda, folks, and she has a flaming spear and a whole bunch of channeling, and she is just ready to mess stuff up. Her Shupa's up. She is using the One Power as a weapon. It's one of the big things, too, when you talk about the battles in the Wheel of Time. One Power is used as a weapon in very different ways by very many different people, and it's hard to visualize it. Like, you think about it and you think it's cool. Seeing stuff like this, where she is like, yep, I'm going to set this thing on fire, and I'm going to mess you up. Like, there's so many things they can do, and I think we're going to see a lot of this. Now, it begs the question, why is she doing this? So she looks to be inside a sweat tent, perhaps, maybe, or inside a house. So we do know that we're going to probably see Cold Rock's Hold at some point in the 3rd season. This could be in one of the cave houses they have there. Could possibly be. Could be when Cold Rock's Hold gets attacked, because it does get attacked in the book series. We can only assume the same thing happens in the show as well. So maybe it's her fighting the Drehekar. Are we going to get Drehekar? Are we going to get just Trollocs? Are we going to get Fades? I'm not sure, but I think that's likely what this is from. And again, this is another shot of Rand's past lives. So this is where he walks through the glass columns and he goes back further and further. There is a shot, or a scene within the book series where one of the Aiel is a harvester. They're out collecting the harvest in the end. It's not the next picture. I kind of wish I put these in chronological order. But I think that's where this is from. And when we get to the shot of him looking up in the air, it's him looking at the Joe car that's coming in with the soldiers, telling them that the war's over. So I think this is a shot near the end of the War Power where Rand is walking through the glass columns, seeing Throne of his Ancestors' eyes. He's actually watching the end of the War Power during the harvest. Now, they're not singing here like they were in the books. They're actively harvesting. So I'm not entirely sure how this scene will play out. And you can't really tell how futuristic things are, but everything looks a little too clean and too nice to be modern day. Everybody is just a little bit, the clothing is a little too fine. And then later on when you see it, it's Rand. It's like doofy Rand with a goatee and a little bit different colored hair, but it's definitely Rand. So I think that's what this scene is here at the end of the War of Power. All right, so then we're back into the waste here in a shot. You see all the Aiel kind of centered around. This is what we believe is Al-Cardal, the Golden Bowl. We saw it in the teaser trailers and the promotional material. This is where Rand announces himself as Karakar and tells the Aiel the history of the Aiel, kind of breaks them, because they weren't ready to hear that at all. Here it is. Here's Doofy Rand. So you get a shot of him here with the goatee and the different colored hair. That is definitely Yosha Stradowski. Again, clothing a little bit too fine to be modern day. He's doing this. I think this is where he's looking up the Joe car coming in that has the soldiers in it, and they're there to announce the end of the War of Power. I believe that's what this is. And of course, you get a shot of Lan and Nynaeve. Their romance is going to blossom further. There's a lot of speculation on where that's going to go in the next season. But if it follows the trajectory of the books, it's going to take too long for them to get together. I think they're accelerating that a whole lot. And I think we're going to see much, much more of that next season in the brief time periods where they're together. I think it's going to be all Nynaeve and Lan all the time when they're together. And again, another shot, more romance, folks. We think we have Elaine and we have Rand. We know in the books Rand has three main love interests. He's Elaine, Aviendha, and he has Min. Don't know how they're going to work that in the show. It's going to be a little bit different, I believe. They've updated a lot of other things to be more modern. And let's face it, for the 90s, a man having three women who are actively pursuing him was sort of an adolescent man's fantasy, I guess is the best way to put it. They'll probably update that to be more of a modern type of relationship between the four of them. But again, you can definitely see that there's some moon eyes there, folks. They definitely have some feelings for each other so far. So I think we're going to see some of that next season too. Here we get a shot of what appears to be Loial in the back, and Bainad Chiad and Perrin, and they're walking through what appear to be the Mountains of Mist. And I'm saying that because it looks exactly like the same spot that Rand and Egwene kind of sat on, and Rand and Lanfear were sitting on, and a lot of the shots we've seen in the Two Rivers. So I think this is them journeying to the Two Rivers. So we have Bainad Chiad going with Perrin, and we have Loial. No Fael, though. So Bainad Chiad were with Fael in the books. They're not with Fael. They're with Perrin. I wonder if they're taking Goal's place to go with Perrin to the Two Rivers. Not 100% there, folks, but I'm wondering if that's what's going on. And again, I promised you this shot earlier on when it appears that Alana has lost a warder. We can only assume that's what she's so upset for. And this is the same scene. We've proven this in another video of mine where she's actually smashing up the cobblestones and throwing things around. It's the same architecture in the background. So during that scene, I'm pretty sure she loses one of her warders. And it's definitely not Maxim, because we've seen him in the Two Rivers shots, which is towards the end of the season. So there's that. Again, another shot here. You see the White Cloaks. They're sort of holding the wall there in behind, fighting the Trollocs. You see some villagers up front, and Fael just rushing forward. And it's hard to tell what she's holding, but it looks like she's holding her knives. Now, Fael is known for her knives. She carries hundreds of them. No, that's an exaggeration. She carries a lot of knives on her person at all times. She's really, really, really accurate and good at throwing them. I think we're going to see a little bit of that in the Battle of Two Rivers, at least from this anyway. You see her rushing forward there. And again, White Cloaks fighting in the background. They are actively part of the fight, it looks like, and they are not standing off to the side for the Battle of the Two Rivers. And of course, more romance. We have Perrin and Fael. We're going to see them get together this season for sure, 100%. We've seen a few shots of them hugging, a few shots of them kissing, and here's another one in the trailer. I am very pumped. They are my favorite relationship in the book series, mainly because I think they're real and raw, and it's not one of those kind of made-up storyline book type relationships, which I feel like all of Rand's relationships kind of were. They're more storybook relationships. Perrin and Fael, very real, very grounded, more of what you'd see in the real world versus a storybook, so to speak. So a couple of shots of them kissing there. Like, look at the makeup with all the blood and stuff. Absolutely amazing. Here we have something else I want to discuss. This is Moiraine looks to be wearing that kind of weird cuirass that she was wearing in some of the promotional shots and when she was using the that object of power. But here she has blood from the side of her mouth. Looks like Lan's nose is bleeding. That's Lan carrying her there. I have a second shot here. So that is Lan. So she's bleeding from the mouth. He's bleeding from the nose. They're going through some stuff here, folks. So either this is her using that sangreal and it just overwhelms her, something bad happens, or something else, because she's crying. She is hurt and crying, and he is scared and hurt. So this is a part of a major scene of some sort or another. It looked like she was using it in the scene because of what she's wearing. Same blue dress, same cuirass. So I don't know, folks. Give me your best guess what's going on here down below. Are they fighting somebody? Is this after she comes out? Is this Rand carries her up out of Rhuidean like you see in the poster and stuff, and Lan runs down and grabs her? Doesn't account for his or her injuries? I don't know. Let me know what you think is going on here. But this is definitely, if you look in the background, definitely the waist for sure. Maybe the World of Dreams, because the World of Dreams also looks like that. But so far, we haven't found any real indication of a shot being in the World of Dreams due to something yet. I mean, no Starbucks cups. No shade to Game of Thrones, but we haven't seen a Starbucks cup yet. And we get into the final shots of the trailer here. And this is interesting. We've seen these before in the promotional materials. This appears to be Rand channeling, and you have other Rands. You have a Rand on the bed. You have a Rand on the floor. This appears to be the Bubble of Evil. So we've talked about this here on the channel before. There's a Bubble of Evil in the books where Rand's images come out of the mirrors and attack him. And I think that's what this is, because he is just shattering the mirrors in this shot. And take a look here. Mirror there, Rand, and more Rands. Mirror shatters, they turn into T-1000s. You know what I mean? Rand, T-1000. Mirror, no mirror. Mirror, Rand, no mirror, T-1000. I think this is the Bubble of Evil shot. So that gives me a lot of hope that we're seeing Bubble of Evil in next season. We're definitely seeing this one for sure. There's a lot of thoughts about other things. There are a couple of other Bubbles of Evil that happen in the book series at the same time that are pretty important. One is Perrin's axe kind of goes live and attacks people. One is men jump out of the playing cards. So Matt is playing with some nobles in here, and they attack them, and they kill the giant playing card people. There's tons of different Bubbles of Evil, but this one here is an important moment for Rand. And mirror, no mirror, Rand, T-1000. I think that's what this one is. Yeah, we'll go with that. I'm pretty sure that's what this one is. Either way, pretty cool. We're going to get to see this in the season. Now we're back to the first year. So let's stop this and we'll get me back up big again. All right. That's better. What do you think, folks? Like, we just went through, it's probably a 40-minute video or longer. I'm sorry. Watch it in shifts, I guess. If you come this far, we're almost to the end. We're almost there. Almost. Yeah, so really, really neat. I'm very impressed with the trailer. So far, in my opinion, the marketing and things they've done for Season 3 have been wild. Like, just way better than Season 2 and Season 1. Season 1 was hobbled by the fact that they had COVID, things were going on. Season 2 was the strikes. Yes, there is reasons, but it doesn't mean we had to be happy about it. Season 3, we have the interviews that are coming later this month. We have weekly Walt Wednesdays again. Finally, folks. Finally, we have weekly Walt Wednesdays again. Posters have been absolute fire. Trailer and the teaser trailer, both chef's kiss. Love them to death. But I want to hear what you folks think down below. Let me know in the comments what you thought of the trailer, what you think's going on. And I specifically want to know if you are a person who does not like the show. For whatever reason, and I don't need to know the reasons why. That's for another video. We're going to do that in a bit, actually. I want to know what you thought of the trailer. I want to know if this trailer has changed your mind a little bit on watching Season 3 or not. There's a lot of good stuff going on there. There's a lot of things that are ripped directly from book to page. There's a lot of things that I think are going to bring a lot of people back for Season 3. And I want to hear from you folks. Will you come back and give Season 3 a chance if you didn't enjoy the first 2 seasons? Because I think you won't regret it. Anyway, Thank you very much for sticking with us here to the very end. Here's to many more.